Thank you so much for your purchase. Let's go ahead and unpack this embroidery kit together. We're gonna go through everything that's in it and all of the materials. Up first, we have this adorable Hey Mama card. If you flip it over to the back, you'll notice use code COOLMOM for 10% off your next order. Don't miss out on that awesome deal. Up next, we have the hoop. So first, on the side there is that needle. Whenever you're not using your needle, you can just put it right where I have it there on the side of the hoop to just kind of store it in a safe place. Obviously, it's sharp, so be careful. You see me here, I'm loosening the embroidery hoop, so just turn it to the left, and then you can remove the hoop itself. You'll also notice that the fabric, there's two pieces. I will always include my kits with two pieces. Stitching with two pieces of fabric just makes for such a nice, clean, thicker look than just one piece of fabric. Okay, so I'm just putting the hoop back on, and then I'm just gonna turn the screw to the right to make it nice and tight. Now, whenever you're stitching, you wanna make sure that your fabric is pulled really taut. So you just kind of see me here, I'm just pulling the edges to make sure that it's nice and tight, and then I'll go back and screw it even tighter. Up next from the kit, we have the pattern. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to transfer this pattern onto your fabric. And you're going to do it with this handy dandy heat erasable pen. This pen, like I said, is heat erasable. So once you are totally finished with your piece, you're going to take a hair dryer to it to erase any extra markings. And then up next here, we've got your felt. You'll use this at the very end to close the back of your hoop. You can see it kind of fits in there perfectly. And all that information will be at the end here, the end here QR code. Okay, up next we've got embroidery floss. That's what this is called, floss. So you'll see I'm just taking the string off of them here. And then you've got all of your different colors. Now you'll notice that there's a number on each one. That is the color. And then you always want to pull your floss from the side that has the number, not the other side. Typically, whenever you're pulling off a piece of floss to work with, you want it to be, I usually do about an arm's length away. Now, these here are scissors. They're not included in your kit, but if you get really into embroidery, I highly recommend. Otherwise, you definitely don't need them. Normal scissors will work perfectly fine. Okay, so here I am now. I'm just pulling the embroidery floss apart. You'll notice on your guide, which we'll go over after this, it says strand count. So what I'm doing here is just pulling them apart to get a certain number of strands. So I just pulled it right down the middle for 3 strands on each piece. And then you'll want to pull just nice and slow all the way to the end. Now make sure that you keep that other piece that you're not actually working with, just, to make sure that you use all of the floss. Okay, and then what I'm doing here is I'm just going in and I'm threading my needle. So you might want to just pop it in your mouth there for a second, the floss, just to make it go through the eye really easily. And then lastly, what I'm doing here is just tying a knot at the very end of my embroidery floss. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some scissors and just cut off a little bit of that extra. So after you have stitched the length of your floss and you can't go any longer, this here is just how you end that embroidery floss stitch. So I'm just going to go ahead and separate my pieces, and then I just tied 2 nice tight knots. And then you're just going to go in with your scissors and cut off the excess. Obviously you don't want to cut too close to the knot. And yeah, that's that. Okay, and then the last thing in your kit is going to be the embroidery guide. So you'll see all of the numbers are pointing to all the different stitches and parts of the hoop. The start here QR code is not filled in because that's the video I'm making right now. And then we've got the end here one where you will get rid of all of the extra pen marks as well as back your hoop. And then each number corresponds with the color number, how many strands, and the stitch. And then you'll see at the bottom, all of the stitches are listed with the QR code of how to complete them. And there's the embroidery guide. All right, let's talk transferring your pattern. First, take the pattern and tape it up to a brightly lit window. After that, you're gonna grab your hoop and you're going to unscrew your hoop and take just one piece of your fabric. Go ahead and set all of the other pieces aside. Once you've got your pattern taped and your one piece of fabric, go ahead and tape your fabric up over your pattern. Make sure that you tape it nice and tight. We don't want any wrinkles or anything like that. You want it to be nice and clear. All right, now I'm all set up and I grab my heat erasable pen. From there, you're just gonna get started with tracing. Now, a couple of things to remember. First is obviously to follow the lines as best as you can. The second thing to remember is that it absolutely does not have to be perfect. You are going to make a couple of mistakes, and as long as the general outline is there, that is more than enough, because at the end, like I talked about, you're able to erase any of the extra lines that you have with that hairdryer. So here I am, you can kind of see I'm just like working my pen down along, lifting it up often. Taking my time. And I'm gonna go ahead and just speed this process up now. Last thing I'm going to do here is to just put my hoop back together. So I've got the plain piece of fabric on the bottom and then my pattern drawn on the fabric on top. I'm just going to put my hoop back over top. Go ahead and tighten the screw. And then again, you want to make sure that you're just pulling your fabric to be really nice and tight. And then the last thing that I'm gonna do here is just go ahead and go back in with my pen to just kind of like go over any of those little lines that I might have missed. Because again, the great thing about this pen is that it's heat erasable. So you can absolutely erase any of the lines that you may need. And that's how you transfer your pattern.